Hi, I'm Monty, listening with Faith Inkubators. Let's take a look at our PowerPoint lessons for Head to the Heart. Here's Life of Jesus, Lesson 2. And you fire it up there, you'll see that there are a bunch of slides. And I want to be really clear right off the bat. These are overbuilt on purpose. You will learn to love your delete key. And you will learn to love the idea that you can slide these things around to make them fit whatever order you want them to be in. This is just a template. You will whittle this down to make it fit in your own setting. So again, don't feel like you have to use all of these pieces. There's some animations at the beginning. There's some songs at the beginning here. And whenever you see kind of this parchment looking thing, there's some animations and some QuickTime files that you can use. There's a countdown. You don't have to use those, but they're there for you as little animations as well. And you'll notice this is set up step by step by step. Start out with some announcements. Again, if you want to do some announcements, you can change the name there. That'd be a good thing instead of having your name. And then one of the things that's my favorite way to start is a quiz bowl. I either teach towards what we're going to be talking about as a preview, or I use the quiz questions from the previous lesson and put them here. And in my setting, nothing gets the kids fired up more than a quiz bowl. They love that little tiny bit of competition. And so I highly recommend that you use these quiz bowl questions because it's been super fun for me over the years, and I suspect it will be for you as well. Again, you don't have to use all 10 of these. There's usually 10 questions. Delete the ones that you don't want to use, focus towards what you want to use. I usually use 5 or 6. That's the amount of time that I have. And so these are all here. And again, if you want to preview, you can use the ones that are in the lesson that's in front of you. If you want to review, copy and paste some of the slides out of what were in the previous PowerPoint. Delete the ones that are here and pop those in, and you can do that. And sometimes you move these towards the end of the lesson. If you want to do if you want to do a review at the end of the lesson, you can move these around as well. Again, use them however you want to use them. They're there for you. You notice there's a theme verse. We always like to go through the theme verse. There's cartoons that you can use. And again, one other thing I want to hit on that I love doing is focusing the kids and saying, okay, kiddos, here we go. If you don't remember anything at all, this is the one thing I want you to remember about this lesson. And then I read this and have them read it with me, just to focus them. The one thing I want their brains to latch in on, and every lesson has a remember one thing. So then you can go into an opening prayer. Some of them are longer than others. This one's super long. You can cut it down or bring in your own if you want. And then we get into the sections that are set up in your leader's guide as options for teaching. In this case, a lifeline. If you've got somebody who wants to come in and tell a story about a specific idea that touches on this lesson, here's the lifeline slide. If you use any of the skits, these are all title screens for the skits. And then we get into the images and analogies. Art Attack is another one of my favorites. This Hetchy art is just gorgeous. And again, there's all kinds of things to discover and unpack in each one of these pieces of art. I tell the kids, especially for those who are visual learners, what do you see in this art? And this is on their handouts as well, so they've got it there also. Also, we've got a timeline for the series of lessons that are kind of linear and chronologically based, Old Testament, New Testament, Reformation with Luther, and here with Jesus. That kind of sets up where we're going to be going. And then the images and analogies for each specific lesson. And you can use these, you can add to these. I've done these lessons for so long, for so many years, that I just kind of go back to the older PowerPoint files that I've added to and deleted and moved and made them my own. I add some things that are timely. I've deleted a lot of stuff in these basic files, but again, basically I make it my own. And so here's the images and analogies. You may use some of these, you may use all of these, you may use none of these. Well, I take it back. You're not going to use all of these. There's no way you'll have enough time. But again, another quiz that we've got is what's that word? And it teaches to the terms of the week. This always is a popular thing with my kids as well. You could just say, here's the terms of the week, or you could make it a little bit of a game show. That's what this is. What's that word? 5 terms every week. And then we get into Bible time. Open up the Bibles, open up your Bible app. We highlight the theme verse. We look at some other Bible verses that to teach towards the point, even some more key verses. You may use this in its entirety. You may use something a little bit different. Again, it's up to you. Another cartoon that we've got that teaches towards the point. And then we break into small group time, Faith 5 small group time, where the kids go off with their leaders and they unpack the lesson using the handouts. And then we gather back together with a little wrap-up. We wrap a bow on the whole thing. talk about the theme verse again, hit the remember one thing one more time, and wrap up with a little narrative, a thought for them to send them on their way. You may do a prayer journey. You may do a praise, thank, and ask prayer where you say, kids, what are we praying for tonight? That's there as a slide to highlight that. And the blessing. And it's one of my favorite things too, is I always recommend do not send your kids away without a blessing. And what I ask the kids to do is put your pinky in the air, make the sign of the cross on the person next to you. You have to do at least 3 times before you leave, or also on the hand, because some people don't like to get touched in the forehead, and say these words. And then the kids go out and they send them out on their way. So again, you may use these slides in the way that they're set up. You may move them around. Some people do all of the teaching and then the wrap up, and then they send kids off into small group time, and then they just kind of fade away. And that's fine if you want to do it that way. I'm a bigger fan of splitting into small group and then coming back, because they might have some questions or things to talk about of things that they've processed in small group that would be good for the larger group when we get back together again. And so that's just how I do it. But again, these slides are overbuilt on purpose. You will delete, you will move around, and you will make them your own. So there you go, a little overview of a typical PowerPoint file for Head to the Heart. If you have any questions, let me know. I am Monty Lisney with Faith Incubators. Thank you very much. info@faithinc.com is the email to send it to if you have any questions, and we will see you on down the road. Thanks.